Little black book, you know what time it is. 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 Time it is.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is, baby. Listen, we're here talking to you guys about today about saying sorry does not repair the trust. Yes, saying sorry doesn't always repair the bridges that you've broken or potentially the trust that you've broken. And so we're going to talk about that today, and I hope that you like what we do. Make sure, for those who are new, make sure you like, share, subscribe. For those who are returnees, you ain't got the minerals, baby. Bada bing, bada bam. Let's get it. Are you mad, you lean, a gay? Let's get into the video. Just want to say, trust is like in car insurance, yeah? Once you have to make a claim on this car insurance, the premiums go up. And just like when you break the trust of an individual, the effort and the work it takes to rebuild that person's trust is effort. And so I want to say, if you're watching this video, maybe you're the person that has been hurt, or you're the person who has hurt somebody. I'm going to do a video for both sets of people. But if you are somebody who has been hurt and the trust has been broken, this is a video for you in terms of how do you then recover from that situation. This video will allow you to kind of get a sense check in terms of how best it is to recover from a situation when the premiums are up. Cool. So, I want to just let you know, what is trust? For me, trust is a deliberate action to place confidence in something or someone. And so when that confidence is being tested or has been shaken or has been broken, it's just like, imagine, you ride a bicycle, right? And you fall off. You tend to, after the first few times you get back on that bike, it takes a little while before you lose the image or the feeling of the fact that you fell off the bike. And so I remember one time I was riding a bike back in the day, and it must have been raining, and I took a corner, not too even hard, but I took a corner on a particular surface, and my bike just slid underneath me and I went down. From that day onwards, I've never tried to take a corner that quickly ever again. I'm very cautious when I come around a corner. And the reason being is because I still remember that slip and that fall. Now, someone might say a bit of fear, yeah, fear, and also then that fear has conditioned an experience, and that experience now has governed a particular action that I do nowadays. So I want you to understand how difficult it is to regain trust, but also as well not to act out the fear of that trust being broken into your present day. So it's not a simple case of just trust me again. So I'm going to take a situation. Someone cheats on you. It is not a simple task of forgiving and then moving forward. There's forgiving, and then there's a mindset that you have to go through in terms of transfiguring and transforming the mind to get to a place where you can now finally trust that individual. And so, even when we, as a Christian, even though dealing with God has to, in the beginning, treat it like the honeymoon phase. He has to show you things, experiences of how he's working in situations. So for instance, you might go to church one day and the message is directly to you. And the reason why is because God wants to build up that confidence in him through these experiences. So our experiences govern our confidence in things. So what is trust? Trust is the confidence in someone or something, often governed by our experiences. Sometimes people have their confidence either bent or they can have it broken. So something, for instance, in a relationship and your partner flirts with somebody else. It might not necessarily break the trust, but it's bending the trust. And so what happens is the person may feel a certain way towards you, and it doesn't necessarily, like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean they won't trust you again. It just means they're a bit more cautious. But when someone actually maybe potentially cheats on you, you've necessarily broken that trust between you and that individual, and now the actions of that individual will be from a place of experience and fear and pain, and until they transform their mind, that's what the Bible says, renew your mind, because the old ways, they are based on the law, they're based on fear, they're based on the fact that you are controlled by the elemental powers in this world. So when it comes to trusting an individual in a relationship section, someone breaking that trust, for instance, through infidelity, it becomes very difficult to now place that confidence in that individual. So I'm going to talk about obviously the things that are going to help build up that trust again. And things that you're going to need to do in that meantime to be able to, I guess, get yourself in a place if you're wanting to forgive. So for instance, let's say your partner has cheated on you and they're asking for a second chance. How do you get yourself into a mindset and into a place where you can actually trust that individual again? How do you get into that space? Because I know a lot of people deal with infidelity, especially women. And I think it's too easy to just go, do you know what, I forgive him and move forward, and then not realize that your actions in the future are actually based around the fact that there's not been work been done in terms of rebuilding that trust again to get you to a place where your mindset is not retaliating or trying to bring retribution, saying little digs or something like that to your actual partner at the time because of what you've experienced with that person previously. So I'm going to talk about a few things that are going to help deal with getting your mind to that place. The first thing I want to talk about is that patience is required from yourself. Let's say that I'm going to take cheating anyway. So your partner's cheated, yeah, and they've said they want a second chance. You want to give them a second chance, but you've got these conflicting emotions and feelings. The first thing I will say to you is be patient with yourself. Forgiveness can be instant, but the forgetfulness is a long time coming. What do I mean by that? You can choose to forgive on the spot and say, look, I forgive you. And you know what? I know it was a mistake and I know what you did. You weren't trying to be malicious, but you did something, right? Or you were being malicious and I still forgive you. Cool. But the process of forgiveness in terms of the forgetfulness side of it, it is not a one-day step process. There are steps in between to get to that point where you can actually say, do you know what? I can put confidence in you again. Do you know what I mean? Like imagine you sit on a chair and the chair breaks. Now every chair you're going to come across now, you're going to test it first just to make sure. Why? Because your confidence has been shattered. And so the confidence doesn't come back necessarily straight away. It takes time. It takes certain things to happen. I don't want to say my next point, but it takes steps and it takes time to get to that healing process. And it takes experiences that you faced with that individual in future on a consistent basis to say, look, I put my trust in you again. Do you get me? If you are going to forgive somebody and you want to be able to move forward in a relationship with them, there must be a deliberate action. Just as there's a deliberate action on their part to break the trust, there must be a deliberate action on yours to repair, to be part of the process of repairing the trust. So for you looking at it, you need to be able to say, look, I'm gonna deliberately choose now to put trust in you. So when there are situations that are coming, you are deliberately placing your trust in them. Okay, they didn't call you, they came home an hour late today. Now normally that wasn't a problem, but because of the previous situation, the hour late is testing you. Okay, put deliberate trust in that individual and say, look, you know what? I'm not gonna let my mind wander and go through. I'm just gonna go, do you know what? Cool. Or maybe I'll call him or text him or I'll wait till they get home and say, babe, what happened? How you doing? Alright? He was a little bit late today. What happened? I'm not trying to interrogate you. I'm not trying to enforce anything. I'm just wondering, okay, what's happened? Like you weren't home at like 8 o'clock. I thought you were gonna come home. Then he goes, okay, do you know what? No, my bad. Do you know what? I had this and that. It's a deliberate act of trust to place into that individual, rather than letting your emotions fly at them to the point in time. So I'm saying to you, if you're wanting to go back into a relationship with that individual that you feel has broken your trust, there must be a deliberate action on your part to begin to trust. Little steps, but there must be a process in place for you to deliberately do those actions. Do you get me? I believe also there must be an agreement in action in how we go about closing the door on a previous situation. So I'm taking infidelity as an example. Your man has cheated on you with a certain girl. Sorry. A man has cheated on you with a certain girl. And now he says he wants you back and he wants a relationship with you. Okay, how do we put you're saying, yeah, I want to forgive you and I want to move forward. Brilliant. What are the actions we're going to put into place and what can we agree on to move forward? Number one, potentially, are you no longer talking to this person no more? Is that an action we're going to agree on? Maybe they work with you. Okay, they work in your workplace, because oftentimes cheating often happens with colleagues. I'm sorry to say it, guys. I work in an office and I now see how this can happen. Spending 8 hours a day, or it may be even a personal trait. It may even be someone you met on the it may be someone who's on your project. It may be someone who's a friend of the family. It may be someone who's close to you in the past, who's your best friend. Like, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But what is the next action we're going to take as a couple to move forward from that? And when I say that, I mean, how are we shutting that door? Because if you're going to dialogue with that individual, or if you're going to have to have conversation with that individual, because you may, for instance, if I take work for example, or they are a family friend and they do come around the house quite a bit, what is the actions we're going to put in place? Let's say family friend. Okay, is there a way that you're going to talk to your mum and say, look, the person can't come around when you're around, or talk to your dad when they can't come around when you're around because of what's happened? Or is it a case of the fact that it's a work colleague? Okay, cool. So obviously you've got to talk, you're at work, do you know what I'm saying? But there shouldn't be no extracurricular conversations. Do you get what I'm saying? Or it's one of your sports buddies, it's one of your gym buddies, or you want to call it somebody that you do a particular activity with. You know what I'm saying? You lot always used to go to dinner or have cinema dates or whatever you want to call it that you lot used to do. Yeah. Are we cancelling that now? What's our level of agreement in terms of communication with that individual? Setting that level for each other and knowing that there's a level for you that you have to reach, that you're comfortable with. Make sure that you as an individual who's forgiven that person, you are comfortable with the level of communication that person may potentially have to have with that individual. Some of you guys will have to have complete cut-offs. Yeah? Some of you may have to, because there's no necessity for you to talk. You don't work together, you're not doing any particular activities together. Like, fam, there is nothing. There's no bit. You're not business partners. You just have to cancel it. And that's something you may have to agree with. So you as an individual who's forgiven that person, what's your level of agreed action that should take place from here? Do you get what I'm saying? There should be an agreement between you and the individual. And that person should know what level you're comfortable with. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the last thing you want to do is not set a level. Then the person goes, oh, but we work together, and do you know what? I had to talk to her this time, and you're getting vexed. Why are you getting vexed? You should be able to understand that person's point of view. The fact that yes, they cheated, but they have to potentially maybe work with that person, or they have to see that person on a regular basis. So unfortunately, that can't really change. So how do you set a level? By saying, look, there should be no extracurricular conversations potentially. It's looking at angles like that, and just understanding that point of view. So yeah, that's something I would say. There needs to be a continuity of action over time. So if you're forgiving somebody, the way to able to grow your confidence in them is to be able to see that the individual that you're forgiving is doing as they say over time. So you say you forgive and it's a deliberate action, but if the actions and the words over a period of time after you have decided to go back into a relationship is not matching, you are free and entitled to say, listen, actually, this process is not working for me. I'm not seeing the action and the words that you've mentioned actually changing, and to be honest, I don't want to be part of this process. So I'm gonna bow out. You are absolutely allowed to. Do you get what I'm saying? Have that. There are certain actions that I call for, and I mentioned the last one, that need immediate responses, yeah? So it's like I said, what's the level of communication? That needs an immediate response. That should be an immediate conversation. If you're going to forgive somebody of infidelity, for instance, and you want to move forward, there should be an instant, whoa, listen, this is the level of communication that should happen between you and that individual. Let's set that boundary quick. Do you get me? And so, do you know what I mean? Whereas I think over a period of time, watching that person's word versus their action is a period of time. Do you get what I'm saying? So you just watch that. That will help build a confidence, that continuity there, and help build your confidence in that individual. I would also say as well, you know what? You want to be, if you're forgiving that individual, honest and transparent, but more so honest, because the honesty means that you are proceeding forward. You are the one that is stepping forward and saying something, whereas transparency is when you're being asked and you are transparent with what you're saying. You want to be more honest than you are transparent, meaning that you want to be able to say, listen, look, at this moment, look, I'm not going to lie to you, at this moment, this is how I feel about the situation. I know it's been maybe a month and we've been trying to go for a little bit or whatever, and to be honest, this is how I'm feeling about the situation. Don't clog yourself up in, and I mean, there's to a level, this is what I'm going to say, to a level. Obviously, every day talking about the issue, I mean, come on. But there are going to be times and periods where you're going to be like, look, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not comfortable at this moment. I'm trying to get to a place where I'm comfortable, and at the moment I'm not there just yet. So this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. It's okay to share those feelings. And why is it okay? Because if you don't share those feelings with somebody, you'll go mad. And that's when people start harboring stuff and being bitter. Now, for the other person hearing that, they may not want to hear it. That's your business. You've got to hear it. Why? Because once you've broken that trust, to enable confidence to come back into the place, you need to be in a place of being able to say, look, you know what, I know I've done some mad up things, but I need to listen to what he or she is saying at this particular time and moment, and say, do you know what, as they're being honest to me about how they feel, let me also respond by being transparent or being honest back as well. And say, do you know what, I hear you, and do you know what, again, I just want to reassure you, which is my next point. Which will be a point that I'll make another, but there should be a reassurance on your end if you're the person that has broken the trust. And I don't know how long it lasts for. This is the thing about people. Some people are tight elastics, and I say tight, some people are better at forgiving and it's quick. Some people are not as easy at forgiving and it takes a very long time. Whatever the process is with your individual, you need to work with that. You as a person who's forgiving, you need to know the process. You need to be honest with that individual you're with at certain points and steps and processes. And the person who's hurt you needs to also be asking questions at, are you okay right now? Are you cool? Don't assume that the person's okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because this is a two-part process. It requires both of you. Like when it comes to breaking trust, it requires both of you, and it requires that honesty. I think sometimes we think to ourselves, if I don't mention it, then, you know, the hurt won't come. Listen, the hurt's still coming because the person's still thinking about it, bro. So it's going to continue. So it's good to be at points where you just ask and just check in with the individual, like, look, I know this was a few months ago, or I don't know, some of you might even reach a year, do you know what I mean? Like, I know this was last year, but I want to make sure I'm checking with you, you're okay, yeah? We're moving forward, I don't know what the length of time would be with that individual, but again, that depends on what you two are discussing. There should be space to ask questions. If you are going to be forgiving somebody, you need to feel comfortable that there's a space to ask questions. I think what I've seen, especially with like mandem that have like cheated on their gal and that, and I've seen how they've got back together with a girl, and they've mentioned a conversation like they didn't give no space for this girl to reply, no space for this girl to ask real questions, to go into depth, not depth into what you know what doing, but what happened. How did you get there? Okay, how do we avert this next time? Like, a lot of times there's not that conversation. And when I even speak to females about infidelity when they've experienced it, I still don't hear those questions ever come out. And the reason why is because we're not trained to ask those kind of questions, and there's nobody really that's talking about, you know, if they were genuine, there was infidelity and they made a mistake and they've repaired it. They don't like talking about it. But the truth of the matter is, you got to talk about it because people are going through it. Do you know what I mean? And how do we help those other people to repair them? I've been a person that's cheated, so I know. And I feel like I've been a person that's also experienced infidelity against me too. So I've learned both sides of the track. So I know the thoughts that you go through, and I know also the thoughts that as an individual who's done the madness, how you feel towards that individual and how you try to hide away or shy away from certain conversations because you feel like you're being judged again. But the truth of the matter is, you got to go through it, right? So there should be an ample space for you as an individual who's forgiven to be able to ask questions and actually ask, you know, like, look, I'm not going to lie to you, like, okay, I know you mentioned this last time, but what actually happened? Or, do you know what, I'm not going to lie to you, you know, what's the process at the moment? In a relationship, there should be constant checking in with each other and saying, look, do you know what, at the moment, you know what, I feel like this could be a little bit better. And he or she should be able to tell you that with confidence. So if that's the case with your own relationship where there's no real infidelity, but then there is a case where there is infidelity, how much more do you need that conversation to have? You need it. Absolutely need it. 100%. And it's checking in with each other. I mentioned earlier as well, you are entitled to feel to want reassurance when you're doubting. Yeah, because this is the person has broken the trust. Do you get me? So I mean, even God himself has to sometimes reassure us as we're in doubt. Because you have to deep it. Abraham, yeah, must have been in some type of doubt if he decided to sleep with Hagar when God told him he'll have a child. We need reassurance as human beings, even when it's not about infidelity. Sometimes you need to be reassured that your partner still loves you. Sometimes you just want to hear the words. Sometimes you want to see the action. But if that's the case, taking a situation where there has been a break in trust, then, you know, your person will need to be able to reassure you. And that's 100%. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you are not bad for wanting some reassurance. And that reassurance, I mean, for you, they're not a mind reader, the other person. So as you, the person who's forgiven, you may want to ask, listen, look, I just want to and that's where the check-ins come in. I just want to check in with you. Are we still good? Are we still on a good platform? Are we still good forward? What can we do better? And that links into what can we do better? What can help? I mean, what can help us grow? Like, what would you like to do? Do you know what I mean? That is needed. Thinking that the other person can't handle the truth, it's going to cause you problems. I've already mentioned this about being open and honest and just speaking about how you feel. Thinking the other person can't handle the truth will cause you problems in the long run, because what happens is you bottle up, and when you bottle up, you explode. Shake a bottle. In fact, no. I say put a super malt in the freezer, yeah, and watch what happens. The bottle lid will explode, because the pressure builds up in that super malt glass. Do you understand? So you have to deep it, yeah. You are like that. You don't want to explode one day, and the person's like, where did that come from? And then you have to you can't even explain where it's come from, because there's a mixture of things that have happened. But the truth of the matter is, there's been a wound that you haven't covered, and you haven't dressed, and you haven't cleansed, and you haven't been able to be honest about how you're feeling and how hurt you feel or don't hurt, or how, you know, your mind's affected or whatever. That truth that you can't express then becomes a bottling up, and when you bottle up, you feel like you're going to be destroyed, and you feel like, you know what, I'm at the breaking point. At that conjuncture, when you're at breaking point, you potentially may cheat yourself. You too may find yourself doing odd things in your behavior. You may find yourself having unnecessary arguments. You can feel yourself being stressed. You can spiral into depression. Like, not saying what you feel can cause so much problems. This is all to do with wisdom, though. I'm not saying that every shenanigan of a thought in your mind needs to be released. But with wisdom, you should be able to have a conversation and say, look, this is how I'm feeling at the moment. I know things are great at the moment, and I'm enjoying the time with you. Or like, things are not even going great at the moment. I know we decided we're going to forgive you and move forward, but this is what I would need to be able to do that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Like, nothing wrong with that. Just because you said it, just because you've forgiven at that point, yeah, doesn't mean you're going to forget in 3 days' time or a week's time or even a month's time. It takes time to heal. To replace confidence takes time. So all I'm saying to you guys is, if you're a person that's going to be forgiven when someone breaks your trust, just make sure that you're able to have those steps that I've put into place, you know, and be open, be honest. Do you know what I mean? And have that conversation. It's a hard one, but have that conversation. So yeah, guys, that is our Breaking Trust video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. For those who are returnees, you ain't got the minerals, baby. Make sure you watch out for part 2 of this video, where I talk about, for those of you who have broken a trust and how to fix it. And we'll have a part 3 where we're talking about God. Breaking trust with God, and how to get back to loving God and the confidence that we place in Him. So guys, you know what time it is, baby. Little black book, you know what time it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.